So I riff. I riff with everything. Give me a camera, I'll riff, you know. Interview people, I'll just improvise with them. Thought I heard a knock at the door. I don't open the door anymore. I don't open the door to anyone. But I think it was just the neighbor doing Saturday morning cleaning. Saturday seems to be the big day for planes overhead. See, you know, it's not really great for me to live in the city. I shouldn't live in cities anymore. I should be way out in the mountains. Because I'm so hypersensitive, you know, that really I should be just tuning into nature. Tuning into nature. That's what I should be doing. The riff. Okay, so the riff is a stream of consciousness. It's a stream of consciousness, rave, or, you know, you can do it musically, you can do it with words, you can do it visually with a camera in front of your face, and you just let it riff, let that camera riff. I've got a good video about that. But see, I'm too wild in these videos, you know, because I'm just out there, you know, riffing. I'm out there riffing in the world, and I'm out there riffing around Australia, and then I make these videos and I put them out, and I can feel the sort of moral tacit reproach coming back through the cyber waves. The women get very worried and sort of jealous. Because, you know, it's one thing to allow the men to run around without a chaperone. They try to lasso the men in too. Nobody's free. But it is worse as a woman. Because as a woman, on top of all of this, here comes another plane, on top of all of this, you can be raped. You can be raped over and over again. You know, you are the vessel. And in this world, the vessel becomes a toilet where all the sickness can offload its shadow. There's an ad for Nissan, a new Nissan car, on the internet. And they've got all these bright, fancy colours, yellow, blue, red, whatever. And the way they're advertising it is three faces, two women, and the man looks sort of androgynous, right? So they're hitting the sort of male, the gay male, and the sort of lesbian in that one image. And the other two are just, you know, beautiful women, a brunette and a blonde. And during this ad for this car, they're all getting covered in paint. So it's like they're being come on. The Japanese have a term, what's it called, bukkake? I think it's bukkake. And that was sort of traditionally like if the wife was found, you know, cheating on the husband or whatever, you know, he would come all over her face, bukkake. And that was to shame her. And the bukkake has sort of been, you know, the Japanese sort of torture and shaming and humiliation rituals have sort of been absorbed into this program. See, the people in this program too, they love to take things from other cultures and just sort of pervert them. You know, just put them in their pocket and, oh, that's a good trick. That's a good magic trick. That's a good bit of ancient knowledge. We'll just sort of twist that one around and spit it back at the people later. But thanks for that. Love those Native Americans. Love those Aboriginals. Unless they're living in the city next door and ask me for $1 or a cup of coffee. Love them. Love them. See, what I'm doing is I'm riffing. But girls aren't really allowed to riff. We don't like girls that riff. It's like, stay neat and pull it all in. Edit, edit. The camera woman should not be heard. That's what Mr. Endangered Languages told me. Yes, the camera woman should laugh and not be heard. Laugh at me, while I bash you over the head with my words. That's what we're left with, right? The pink swastika and the poetic Nazi. That's what we're left with.
I said you can't ride a butterfly. He goes, that's right. You can't ride a butterfly. He won't let you.
Anyway, I only have 8 minutes left of tape, so I should stick to the story. And the story is about the Riff. See, we don't like women who riff. We don't approve of women who riff. We want women to just like, you know, smile and lie. That's how we like our women. So I'm like a walking affront. An affront to everything that the patriarchy hates. And when I say patriarchy, I'm not just talking about men, you know, because I can't tell you the amount of bitches who have tried to shut me up over the years. Oh my God, help me. So, yeah, on one side, the women, the men might make the rules, but the women are the gatekeepers. They're the ones that make sure everybody keeps to the rules, even when the rules aren't serving them. And that's when you know that you're a slave. That's when you know that you're a slave. When you're in a sort of Stockholm syndrome, when you will provide things for the master or the handler, even as they are still like skinning you alive.
But when you're stupid, you just keep on bending in the wind. Loving you is as dumb now as when this thing just began. I may be crazy for you now, but I'm stupid in the end. Here comes the second verse. It was a dream. Why do what's the purpose? They're after me! I got no brain! I'm going crazy! God, I wish that the way that what is to you, you can't tell what from what not. That's what the other thought. Well, what I mean by that is a thought appearing in my mind that's not me enough, then urging me to please shut up. That you surf along the streams of consciousness. Amend thy ways to allow other thoughts' existence. Write not the poem, write the other poem. Is a beautiful and delicate thing. And what I counter? By so doing, am I not giving vent to another that's not the actuality of me? She's too beautiful, too much. That I could not have the essence of me is a delicate and evanescent thing. And the meaning that you have in it is particular to you. And if only everybody, I think I can get it. I'm starting to get it.
She's my Miss America. We play out our own culture's relationship to each other on a small screen in a small house. It all looks friendly enough, but my relationship to her is as obsequious and impotent as Australia's relationship to America. And out of that impotence, my resentment builds. She's the devil I know, but always between us this strange disconnect I can't name. A glass wall I keep running into, an invisible barrier that I can't see and therefore I can't open. I wanted America long before I wanted her. I wanted my place.
I was watching Rick Shapiro on video the other night, and he is, or was, the king of the Riff. And I met him at the Sidewalk Cafe after I'd done a launch of a global anthology of new fusion poetry. I think that's what it was called. Anyway, it was poets from all over the world, and they combined music and soundscape, whatever, multimedia, with their work. So I'd just been on stage doing this piece that sort of blew everyone out of the room, really. It was like a bomb. I'm afraid of my words now. I'm afraid of men with names like Ahmed and Atta. They're all carrying nerve gas in the top left pocket of their polyester shirts. And they all wish me ill. Me, little western slut that I am. What do you do with your dangerous thoughts when the melting pot is in meltdown? You stay at home. You keep that thought to yourself. Better not leave the room. You don't know where you'll end up. It went like that, right? This is like a horror poem. But, you know, it was a riff that just came out of me on September 11th and the days after September 11th, when I went out onto the streets with my camera and I just shot everything that walked in my path for 6 weeks. I was standing on the outside looking in with that camera. I was keeping an eye on myself, and I was trying to be the heroine of my own story. I was a big Joseph Campbell fan. But you know, Joseph Campbell told me that the job of the artist was to follow their bliss. And on one level, that's right. If you've got God on your team. But if you don't, following your bliss is just going somewhere over the rainbow. And once you've gone over that rainbow, it's very, very, very hard to get back again.
I said, you can't ride a butterfly. He goes, that's right. You can't ride a butterfly. It won't let you.
See, when I go back and I think about this, I go right back into a dreamy state. Because when I did the gig at the New School, that was sort of traumatizing. And then afterwards, we all went down to the Sidewalk Cafe. And we were all, you know, strangers to each other. We sort of knew each other through the poetry vine. But mostly we were strangers. And we all went down to the Sidewalk Cafe. And Rick Shapiro was on.
So he reached into the glove compartment, and this part is true. This is exactly true.
And it blew me away because I felt so lonely after that gig. Like, I felt so on the outside. Like, I just wasn't part of the group. And, you know, poets are a pretty disparate, motley group. So you know, if you can't snuggle in there, there's nowhere for you, man. Anyway, so I was fully alienated. And then Rick Shapiro gets on stage, and his energy was just like Nagasaki. And I was so grateful for it, you know, because it was an energy that matched mine. It was an energy that matched mine. And when you find that, you know, when you find an energy that matches yours, you feel less lonely, like instantly. Like a lot of his material is really off. It's just like fully misogynist. It's pro-sodomy. It's pro-brotherhood. It's, you know, I like it both ways. It's my heroin years, and you know, it's Iggy Pop, it's Lenny Bruce, it's Hunter S. Thompson, it's Bukowski, it's totally licking the bum crack of the fat controllers. But when you're surrounded by so many dead people, you know, just dead on a spirit level, like just pretending to be poets, pretending to be artists, nobody knows the bloody difference. And you see the real thing, you know, the real artist that is just driven. And for sure he made a deal with the devil, man. But at the same time, I think I could also relate to him because he'd sort of only made a half deal, like, because his quest was truth, and God is truth. But because he made the deal with the devil, he got stuck there, man. He got stuck there. He got stuck talking about blowjobs and parking lot sex and screwing homeless women and his heroin years and, you know, working for the mafia and all of that. Street hustle. If you caught it during that, you know, the heat of his 15 minutes, it was really something to witness.
I said, you can't ride a butterfly. He goes, that's right. You can't ride a butterfly. It won't let you. So he reached into the glove compartment, and this part is true. This is exactly true. He reached in, he pulled out another butterfly. And he goes, butterflies will not let you ride them alone. They will only want us to do things together.
See, the thing is, you cannot make a half deal with the devil. You either, you know, go the full way and take the full butterfly ride, you know, which is hell, and I don't recommend it, but you try to make a half deal, and your life is torture. Because when you make the full deal, there's none of you left. You're just totally soulless, and, you know, you might as well be a machine. The soul's gone. You've just made the full deal. So, you know, everyone knows where they stand, and you know where you stand. Most importantly, you know where you stand. But when you make a half deal, you don't stand anywhere. You don't stand anywhere. Because you're out there in front of that crowd and you're talking about, you know, the oppression in the world and you're striving for truth. It's just, you know, your aim is to, you know, wake people up, you know. You want to wake yourself up. You want the whole room to be awake. That's the aim. But you're working with spiritual forces. Art's a spiritual quest. And, you know, it's just like Bob Dylan said in that interview, you got to serve somebody. He made his choice. And look at him now. I've got a Bob Dylan concert chapter in my book. His concerts have no vibe. They're like Nana's pudding without the comfort. You know, his gigs are full of pajama people. You know, it's all this sort of beer-stained nostalgia. The sheeple have been made to kneel around this his altar and worship. You know, those songs that were prophetic. They were prophetic. They were the poetry of their time. But, you know, it's like life hasn't moved forward since Bob Dylan. The poets my age are all bloody writing plays about him and whatever to get in with that corpulent baby boomer mob.
Delicate and evanescent thing. And the meaning that you have in it is particular to you. And if only everybody,
This is what happens when you make the deal with Satan. It doesn't age very well. You get 15 minutes. Andy told you, right? You know, in the age of the selfie and the Snapchat and the Facebook and the Twitter, you're like, that's 15 seconds. But, you know, you get 15 minutes unless you are someone like Dylan or the Stones or whatever, and they'll just keep rolling you out, you know, just to keep everyone's eyes on that particular period of time. That was the revolution. That was the revolution. Well, it obviously wasn't, was it? It obviously wasn't the revolution. Because look at the fruits of that revolution. A world like stacked with like total narcissists who are just, you know, staring in the mirror and doing each other over. I digressed a little bit, but anyway.
So I will ride my butterfly and you will ride yours. I said, what are you talking about? He said, it's true.
Rick uses his shtick as his confessional. He'll tell you who he pulled his pants down for. He'll tell you through his stories which piper he was paying. You don't have to bend over for Jesus. He doesn't require it, you know. He doesn't need to be cocky. He doesn't need you to suffer any humiliation for your redemption. And there is redemption with Christ. There's no redemption with the devil. There's no way out. Every word you say will be used against you forever and ever and ever. She-men. It's not amen, it's she-men. You don't know where you are. You're just in Satan's tumble dryer, going round and round and round and round and round. And you start trying to beat your head against the truth in there, you're just going to end up with concussion.
He sat on his butterfly, and it didn't kill the butterfly. I said, the butterfly was still alive, moving his wing, and I said, all right, I'll sit down on mine. And when I sat on mine, the cab disappeared. Wow, man, it's calling Frank. We're calling it a trick. The man disappeared, the wing shot, the velvet. I can't hold it. And I was riding the butterfly, and all the suits were flying off men, and nobody was judging each other by how they dressed, by how they walked, and nobody was saying they had the answer, nobody had the rules, they were saying what they wanted.
I want to feel more alive in a room full of dead people. I want someone to look me straight in the eye, just slash right through my mask and tell me the truth. I want to be able to articulate my deal with the devil, but I don't understand it. And the reason why I don't understand it is that it wasn't a conscious contract with me. It was something I was tricked into. It was something I was tricked into. And I couldn't take the humiliations. When I worked for television and I was like a mainstream celebrity, I couldn't take the sort of initiation type punishments that went with it. I couldn't take them. Wasn't why I took the job. I didn't like being humiliated. I left acting school because I didn't like being humiliated. So humiliation, enjoying humiliation is not part of my character. It's something that's been programmed. Well, it's broken now. And the only way out of that one is Jesus, I can tell you. It's broken. You got to get down on your knees for somebody. You don't get down on your knees for Jesus, you get down on your knees for Satan.
And scorpions flew out of the glove compartment with their tails, saying, "Ride the butterfly, you're the scorpion. Ride the butterfly, you're the scorpion." And they're riding the butterfly, and everyone's just looking at each other and not feeling religion or ideology or theology, just looking, not feeling who's right and who's wrong, just staring at each other, just looking right in each other's fucking eyes. Rick Shapiro, everybody. It's the special